Are men naturally polygamous? What the Bible, Jesus, and history really say. One of the most common arguments used today, both culturally and religiously, is a claim that men are naturally polygamous. This idea is often defended using examples from the Bible. Abraham had more than one wife. David had many. Solomon had hundreds. So the question becomes, does the Bible teach that men are polygamous by nature? And what did Jesus actually say about it? To answer this honestly, we must separate what the Bible records from what it actually teaches. Polygamy in the Bible, allowed, not celebrated. Yes, polygamy exists in the Bible, but it's important to understand why. In the Old Testament, polygamy was permitted, not commanded or promoted as an ideal. Many influential men practiced it, but almost every biblical story involving polygamy also records conflict, jealousy, broken families, and suffering. Sarah and Hagar, Leah and Rachel, David's household, Solomon's downfall. The Bible does not present polygamy as romantic or noble. It presents it as problematic and cost. In fact, the Old Testament law only required polygamy in one very specific situation. When a man died without a male heir, his brother was expected to marry the widow to preserve her survival and the family lineage. This was about social protection, not male desi. Why polygamy made sense in ancient MES. In ancient societies, especially after wars, the number of men was often far lower than women. Polygamy helped prevent widows from poverty, preserve family land, rebuild population. So polygamy was a practical solution to social imbalance, not proof of male biological destiny. When society stabilized, however, polygamy created new injustices. Wealthy men took multiple wives, leaving poorer men without families at a Jewish views were already changing before Jesus. By the time of Jesus, many Jewish communities, especially those living under Roman rule, had already begun rejecting polygamy. Some Jewish groups argued that from the very beginning, God's design was one man and one woman. They pointed to Genesis, where humanity is created male and female, and where marriage is described as two people becoming one. Even before Christianity formally emerged, polygamy was already falling out of favor. What Jesus said about polygamy. When Jesus spoke about marriage, he did something radical. He went back to the beginning. Instead of arguing about exceptions, Jesus from the beginning of creation, God made the male and female. The two shall become one flesh. This was not accidental language. Jesus deliberately emphasized two becoming one, affirming monogamy as God's original intention. Jesus did not condemn Old Testament figures, but he reframed marriage as a lifelong, exclusive covenant, not a system built around male privilege or convenience. Paul's teaching, a clear Hift. The Apostle Paul went even further. He removed older laws that could lead to forced or multiple marriages and emphasized freedom, consent, and mutual commitment. And church leaders were explicitly required to be husbands of one wife, reinforcing monogamy as the Christian stand. This wasn't rebellion against God. It was alignment with God's deeper purpose. Did God change his mind? No. God's purpose never changed. Only the application did. God's goal has always been to place the lonely in families, protect the vulnerable, promote stability and mutual care. In unstable times, polygamy served that purpose. In stable societies, it undermined it, so the command adapted, but the purpose remained Now, the modern hypocrisy. Ironically, many modern societies condemn polygamy while quietly tolerating serial monogamy, multiple divorces and remarriages, widespread adultery, normalized mistresses, and secret relationships. In practice, this creates functional polygamy without responsibility. Jesus criticized polygamy not just as multiple wives, but as a distortion of deep, committed, faithful partnership. Are men polygamous by nature? Biology may explain desire, but character determines behavior. The Bible never teaches that men are designed to be polygamous. It teaches that humans are flawed, Cultures evolve, and God continuously calls people toward higher responsibility, not lower instincts. Marriage was never meant to be about access. It was meant to be about oneness. Finally, if men were truly created to be polygamous, Jesus would have affirmed it. Instead, he pointed humanity back to one man, one woman, one lifelong covenant. Not because it's easy, but because it's sacred.